Hello Libra, welcome to this reading. We're going to be taking a look at the energies and predictions for the sign of Libra for the rest of October. Now do keep in mind, this is a general reading, so take the messages as they resonate, drop the ones that do not, and also check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. All right, Libra, let's go ahead and get into this reading here for you. See what's coming forward for you as we take a look at this mid-October update. Do hope that your Libra season is going well, Libra. And yeah, so this reading will cover between now and the end of the month. But let's go ahead and get all of the cards out here, get everything set up and in view, and then we'll get right into it for you. Okay. Libra. I think that's looking just about good enough to meet. All right. Energy on the bottom. You do have the Three of Wands. Some of you have outgrown a situation, it feels like. Okay, Libra. This Three of Wands card, it represents growth and expansion into something, but there's more of a feeling here that you've outgrown a scenario or a situation. And at the same time, you do realize that there is something that feels greater, that is sort of like on the horizon for you. You know, something that you want to experience that is in front of you here. And, you know, the Three of Wands card is a good card of optimism, of growth, expansion. It can be a card of travel as well. Kind of like an adventurous energy that comes along with the Three of Wands. But there's a feeling here that something's got to change for you, Libra. Okay? And I think that you probably know that coming like prior to this reading. Like you've maybe even felt that before clicking on this reading here, that something has to change for you, okay? It feels like some of you are in a period of change here, or the universe kind of wants to nudge you in that direction, you know? And to sort of like initiate something in your life. So let's try to get down to what the details here are around this situation. So right away, I felt like, you know, as I looked at the cards here, there's like a lot of blue energy, okay? Some of you may be feeling a little blue, so to speak. I also think that there is an issue around communication that some of you need to look at. Okay, blue, I connect to the throat chakra. There's something that you have to say to someone. Okay, and this may happen here in October. You could also just kind of be kind of prepping for an important conversation that you have to have as well, if that kind of makes sense. But anyway, right away in the middle, you do have the Death card, and this is the probably biggest card of change in the tarot. You've pulled some cards here that people don't like to see, but I will explain to you in this reading why it's certainly not the end of the world, okay? Remember, this is just a simple piece of guidance to help you along your day here, these tarot readings. And so with the Death card, this represents deep change in life, okay? And the way that I like to look at it is when you get the Death card, it's like you can attempt to swim upstream if you would like to, but it's a lot harder to swim upstream than it is to swim downstream, right? And the reality is that like there are times in life where we go through these periods of change where it's not beneficial to fight the change, right? And you know, you've heard the phrase like change is inevitable, and it feels like for you, something has to change here. Like the idea is that perhaps it is connected to your actually maybe it's connected to your finance or your financial situation here, as you have 6 and 5 of Pentacles. Perhaps it is connected to relationships because of the Three of Swords, but we really we don't have any Cups cards, right? It could be any, it could be family, for example, as well. Like there's something here around the universe really wants to nudge you in a new direction, okay? And before you can kind of set foot on this new direction here that you see with the Three of Wands, something has to change. first, okay? Maybe you're in a routine that is not taking you to where you want to go. Maybe you have these goals or these ideas that you know you want to initiate or that you know you want to act on, but for whatever reason, like your routine is not supporting you in that direction. Hopefully that makes sense. In the first column here, you have the Three of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. Okay, so with the Three of Swords, this is a card that indicates separation in the tarot. But remember, because especially in a reading like this, where we don't have cups, you know, a lot of people will see the Three of Swords card, they'll see the swords in the heart, and they'll assume that, oh, I'm getting divorced, or oh, a breakup's happening. But remember, this is anything that your heart is in, okay? Especially here, because we don't have cups. This might not be a relationship, okay? It could for some. It could for some, because we do have swords. Swords represent cutting, severing, ending. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 swords. So a good amount of the cards here are swords, okay, which can represent cutting, severing, ending. It can also represent communication. It can represent the law. There's an element of speed that goes along with swords. It also connects to the mind because of the idea of communication, right? So there is something here that you are letting go of. There's something here that you are separating from or is separating from you potentially between now and the end of October, okay? I would like you to think of this more so as a transformation, okay? A transformation of one's life, which is really what the Death card talks about. If you've watched my readings before, you know that I like to look at it as like going from the caterpillar to the butterfly, right? Maybe it's painful to go through that metamorphosis, but you get to become a butterfly, you know? So like there's something beautiful on the other end of this transformation that may be happening, right? In the interim, you may feel a little bit of like pain emotionally here with the Three of Swords. Now again, we don't have cups. So what I will say though as well, you do have this diagonal here, Three of Swords, Death card, Tower. That's a little dicey, okay? That's a little dicey. Like there could be some sort of like shock or like surprise element that is associated with this change that needs to happen, okay? Here as well. So it may just mean that there's something that you don't exactly see right now, okay? It may come out of left field, so to speak. But the important part is that this is, you may even be living within a false belief as well. I'll talk about that more because that shows up with the Tower card, which is actually a good thing because you're being released from that, right? There's something that is not beneficial to you. It may feel comfortable, it may feel good, but it's ultimately not part of your Dharma. The thing is here, with the Six of Pentacles, it's possible that some of you are giving too much, okay? The Six of Pentacles, it represents inflow, outflow, the exchange of money, the exchange of resources, the exchange of energy, even if it's not monetarily, like in terms of financially giving. It may mean that there's more going out right now than the universe wants you to have go out, okay? Does that make sense? There's more going out right now than you can maybe take or stomach, okay? So there may be some tough conversations around money here that some of you, I see that maybe some of you have been lending, something like this, okay? This may be connected to an air sign. This Queen of Swords could be you as well. It could be another Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini in your life, but it could also be you. But the thing about the Queen of Swords is this person is not afraid to absolutely say something that they need to say. Okay? Cut through anything that's holding them back and say what they need to say. That is the Queen of Swords energy. In the middle, you have the Knight of Swords, the Death card, and the Chariot. So the Knight of Swords, it does represent an event that happens really quickly in your life. I will say this rest of the month could take you by surprise a little bit. Like the rest of this month, it could go very quickly for you. You know, this month could feel like a blur. The rest of this month could feel like a blur. And before you know it, we're in November. Something like that is kind of what I'm getting at here. But the Knight of Swords, it also, on a more positive note, it represents this idea of striking while the iron is hot. Okay, so if you see an opportunity to make this change, to initiate this change, this is a big green light to do that and to embrace it, really. I love that you have the Chariot here, which the Chariot is the sign of Cancer, but the Chariot is also a card that represents that you are making positive steps and positive movement forward towards some success in your life. You can think of the Chariot as driving forward towards success, right? Getting on a road that is successful for you. And maybe right now you're on a road that feels okay, but it's not exactly the most successful road available to you. And maybe you're taking an exit and you're getting on a more successful road. Okay? When you get the Chariot here. And part of that is like you got to change something with the Death card in the Chariot and the Knight of Swords. Okay, be very careful of, okay, I would choose your words wisely, okay, particularly if you are having an important conversation with someone close to you. As you have the Three of Swords here, remember, close to your heart, okay, family member, romantic partner, you know, whatever the case may be, or, you know, anything like that. Like, be careful of the words that you choose because of that Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords, it can also represent destruction. It can represent, like, saying something that you later regret saying, or taking an action before fully thinking something through, okay? Yeah, so, but remember, we do have a really positive message here with the Chariot and the Three of Wands. On the horizon is something nice, okay? But you're looking to, you've outgrown something here very clearly. In the final column, you have the Five of Wands, the Nine of Swords, and the Tower. Sorry, Five of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, and the Tower. Okay, so with the Five of Pentacles, it does indicate like loss, right? Especially when you have it around, you know, the Death card, the Knight of Swords. Some of you may have, there may have been an expense here recently that came up, okay, that kind of caught you out of left field. The Chariot is associated with vehicles, okay, so it could be something like that, right? There may have been a daily expense, because remember, you have this idea of the Six of Pentacles where that represents outflow of money, or inflow as well. It can be either way, but probably outflow in this case, okay, because of the swords. So on a kind of mundane level, there may have been an expense here, and now you're like, you're trying to figure it out. Some of you may have made an impulse purchase as well. As the Knight of Swords, as I kind of suggested, it can represent being impulsive, okay, or I use the word destructive, but sometimes our impulses can also be destructive, and so forth and so on. I also think that there's a really interesting timeline here for some people that, like, some of you are like giving or lending to someone close to you or something like this here, and some of you may decide that this isn't exactly like this, like, I have to stop this, you know, like, yeah, because the Six of Pentacles, it represents generosity. Some of you are being very, very generous, and there's something that's changing here around that. The Nine of Swords, it does represent your fears and anxieties. It represents sleepless nights. I think some of you, this situation is keeping you up late at night. And the Tower, it is this shock, this surprise situation. But, you know, the thing is with the Tower, it may mean that you are living within some type of false belief that you have. Okay? And the blessing of the Tower is that you are now released from that. Okay? The people in the Tower were trapped at the top of the Tower, and now they are released. There was no way out for the people to get out of the Tower. And now, as the Tower happens, it collapses, they're now released. They're free. So while the Tower is challenging and painful, especially when you have the Death card, it's ultimately for your sort of highest good, so to speak, okay, when you get that card. So why don't we get more details on it? A bit of a serious reading here, but, you know, I'm not going to re-roll the cards. I'm sure somebody needs to hear this. Let's go ahead and move into the clarifications here. And let's take a look at first the Oracle cards, and then we'll move into the Tarot cards. Okay. And I think that's just about good. Energy at the bottom, you have great teacher, learn from spiritual experiences. Well, if there was ever a spiritual experience, it would be the Death card in the Tower. And maybe even the Three of Swords, especially if we get the Judgment card. Yeah, so this is, an opportunity for you to maybe grow and learn something through some maybe sort of temporary challenge that you may be dealing with or hardship. You have Wise One, grow within your current situation. Yep. High Priest, intend and create, as well as Shield Maiden, make plans and focus. Yeah, okay, I'm a huge fan of growing within the situation, but I'm going to stick to this idea that some of you have outgrown a situation, okay? And there's like a new situation that wants to emerge for you. So while I like this idea of the Wise One, I actually think that this is showing up to kind of reconfirm that you've outgrown something, okay? Here. Now, on the final two cards here, you have Seer, see beyond the current situation, as well as Shapeshifter, transform and unveil your gifts. Okay. See the forest for the trees here. What's the bigger picture for you? What is the bigger picture, Libra? All right, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the tarot clarifications. Now, I should mention, Libra, that I was getting a major ear pop. This is something that, as I read intuitively, I get. And it's sort of like my spirit guides communicating with me. And as I was talking about this idea of growing, you've outgrown a situation, my ear is popping very, very loudly, okay? So I think that's very important. Now, I do appreciate you being here, Libra. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Do hope things are going well for you. And why don't we go ahead and take a look at the cards here that we're pulling to clarify. You do have the Eight of Wands, you have the Ace of Cups, and you have the World. Okay, now this is the benefit of sticking around for the clarifications, because while the reading started off on a very serious note, there was an intuition that I had that we're going to get some really positive guidance here, which is exactly what we're seeing. So the Eight of Wands, for me, that would suggest that this situation is developing rapidly, okay? This represents accelerated motion, it represents speed, it represents communication from a distance, so phone calls, text messages, letters, emails. I see that, and it's also a breakthrough card, okay? So I see that there is maybe something, this separation, you may, or whatever you're parting with here, or whatever you need to part with here, this is probably going to come via distance first and foremost, but I also see that this is accelerating your timeline a bit, okay? This is going to be a catalyst, okay? This is going to act as a catalyst for you to expand because you've outgrown something. With the Ace of Cups, it does represent new love in one's life. It can represent a new beginning and happiness as well. I think this is connected to where your money is going, okay? And I think that some of you are very generous, and I think that the guidance here for you is sort of have you been generous with yourself, Libra? Six of Pentacles is about give and take, which, I'm a huge fan of generosity, especially it's nice to give someone a big tip, when you go out and eat, or, if you're able to help a family member or whatever, but there's a limit, right? There's a limit. And at a certain point, there's a give and take, right? And it's okay to also be generous with yourself, Libra. With the World, that represents some major completion as well in one's life. You have big cards with the Death card, the Tower, the World. These are big themes in one's life. And so this situation you've outgrown, it will come to a close, okay? The rest of October could be a very important time for this. But this situation will come to a close for you. You have the King of Cups. You have the Two of Swords and the Five of Wands. King of Cups, Two of Swords, Five of Wands. Okay, with the King of Cups, this is somebody who is, I wonder if some of you feel a little guilty. About something. Yeah. King of Cups is somebody who is very emotionally wise, okay? Emotionally wise. There's always a positive and a negative to these cards, okay? And depending on if they're we don't have to get into reading reversals, reading upright, because actually some reversals are good. Anyway, I just kind of look at them as positives and negatives, and I alter the, it depends on the cards around it, right? So with this, somebody may have been placing guilt on you or something like this here, is what I see. So a negative side of this King of Cups is that this may be somebody who's emotionally manipulative, and everything that goes along with that, such as like silent treatment or like, you know, guilting you, these sorts of things can come forward with the King of Cups. Now, this is also on a positive note, somebody who's very emotionally intelligent. This is a good listener, okay? So, but there's an energy of guilt here that some of you, I think, are maybe carrying, okay? There's also a water sign that's showing up here, okay, with the King of Cups and the Chariot for some people. And this could be Sun, Moon, Rising. Now, what I would also say is with the Two of Swords, you're in a difficult scenario here. You're caught in a sticky situation with some people, okay, or with a situation, okay. If it's not connected to a person, I strongly think it's like your income or spending that is happening here, like lending or like you're spending or there's been some expense, and you're kind of like looking at how to handle this, okay. Two of Swords may also suggest that you have something to say to someone, but you're not able to find the words for whatever reason. With that, you have the Five of Wands, which can really indicate a conflict as well. Okay, but with the Chariot, it does seem like you are kind of powering through that. You're pushing through that conflict that wants to arise. You have the Two of Wands. I like that. You have the Six of Swords, also very good, and the Hierophant. Okay, the Hierophant can represent your elders in life. This can represent marriage as well. It can represent tradition as well. And a lot of things, actually, your organizations that you're a part of. But there's a tower moment around this, around these concepts for you. Okay, there may be a conflict with someone that is older than you, okay? Maybe an elder, or you may be the elder, and you may have a conflict with someone as well, depending on your scenario here, that you kind of like where you are. But I do think that some of you are kind of redefining some things. Okay, there may have been some patterns that you've picked up from, that you've picked up on from older generations in your family or in your life just generally. And there's some like redefining of what those look like. The Six of Swords represents transition here, which I love, and the Two of Wands talks about potential, okay? There's major potential in front of you, which I have seen in this entire reading here with the Two of Wands, the Three of Wands, the Chariot, and the World. There is potential here, but you have to take care of something difficult right now, okay? And most importantly, Libra, and I say this as a Libra myself, a decision needs to be made, okay? I know it's not easy, I know. Two of Swords, a decision needs to be made, right? I know personally, man, I just deciding, sometimes making a decision is, as a Libra, but yeah, a decision really needs to be made here, okay? And this is around a change or a transformation that wants to come into your life, okay? Or that needs to take place, a transformation, you've outgrown something, and you want to expand on something here, which is available. Expansion's available. Two of Wands, Three of Wands, Chariot, the World. With the Eight of Pentacles, this represents dedication, represents talent. Yeah, I like what's happening here in the clarifications for you. Getting through something difficult here, and yeah, looks like the future could be very bright. I do see that you are making a change, like you're phasing something out. You're making a transition here, a transformation with the Six of Swords and the Death card. Let's see what else we have. Let's take a look at the Kipper cards here. You do have unexpected income. You have courtship. False person. Thief. Isn't that interesting? Judication and coffin. Okay. Again, these are just tarot readings on, my tarot readings. Really just something to help you throughout your day. Okay. So when you see coffin, when you see death card, tower, don't stress out. Okay. Coffin is an ending. It's like the death card. Okay, it's a confirmation of that. There's a change that's happening here. But this upper row is very interesting, isn't it? Unexpected income, courtship, and false person. Courtship, someone courting you for money, and maybe they don't have the best intentions. False person. Thief. Okay, there is something that you are really needing. There's like some toxicity here in some capacity that you are really looking to accelerate past. Okay, I think some of you are really looking to, you're deciding that you're no longer going to be taken advantage of, maybe from a person or something along those lines. With adjudication, this could certainly be legally connected in some way. This won't be for everyone, but that's kind of my read here. You do, interestingly enough, have courthouse on the bottom as well. So Libra, this is what I have. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll most certainly be talking to you again soon.